Good afternoon. May God bless us all. Honorable Chancellor, Mr. Henry Smerden, AM, Honorable Vice Chancellor and President, Professor Carolyn Evans, Your Excellency, the Consul General for New South Wales, Bapak Heru Hartanto and Ibu, distinguished audience, friends, and graduates. I shared your happiness and excitement. Congratulations to you all. I'm very honored and humbled to be awarded this honorary degree of Doctor of the Griffith University. I'm even more humbled by the extremely laudatory citation by the Vice Chancellor. Honestly, I myself don't even have such a comprehensive story about me in one document like this. Thank you, Caroline. I never imagined I would ever speak to such a distinguished audience of scholars, and made even more imposing by the presence of all of you, newly minted business school graduates. You must be wondering how a nice senior citizen like me can have such a fierce and fearless image as advocate and campaigner for consumer and environmental justice, and later for anti-corruption, good governance, and equality. Let me share with you the background and motivation that propels me to these stages of my life. I'm blessed with a loving husband, 3 lovingly sons and daughters-in-law, plus 7 awesome, lively, and creative grandchildren. I'm very grateful to have their constant support. I was always rebellious since I was a young girl, never afraid of anything or anyone, including my parents, whom I love and respected very much. I came from a family of 9. My father was a judge, well known for being a very honest judge, with hence the limited income. And my mother was a housewife doing irregular trading activities. It was because of my mother's strong commitments and determination, persistence, and resources that my sisters and I could enjoy higher education. Needless to say, my father's strong integrity and honesty, plus my mother's persistence and passion for girls' empowerment, were the values and drive that I took with me as foundation in my future development. Dear audience, I developed into an activist during my students' years, like you just now. As a student leader of many activities within and outside the university, I was totally occupied with student organizations demonstrating against dictatorship, corruption, or any social injustice issues. My rebelliousness turned into anger, angry at the unjust conditions that victimize the vulnerable groups, at the wide gap of living standards, angry at unrestrained government officials and deceitful politicians with their extravagant way of life. The funny thing is, I even became angry at my own friends who were not angry at that time. I didn't know that today it is termed as an angry radical. I metamorphosed into a consumer and environmental activist since I moved to the capital Jakarta after graduation. I first joined the Indonesian Consumer Organization, a pioneer in expressing advocacy effort based on facts and data. I followed the same practice of evidence-based advocacy, campaigns, and policy input to the government and parliament when we started the Indonesian Forum for the Environment in 1980. We advocated for changes and built nationwide movements. Sometimes we aimed our fights at industries or companies we perceived as cheating consumers by producing fake or dangerous products, polluting the environment, destroying natural resources. Hence, we were often seen as enemies of the business world and vice versa. Business world meaning your future world. But have no fear. I'm absolutely sure that the alumni of this esteemed university will never resort to unethical or manipulative businesses. The previous speaker has assured me so. Right? Okay, I will believe you. Furthermore, luckily, we have a large age difference, so we won't start any fights here. Ladies and gentlemen, I started early as an internationalist in both the consumer and environmental movements. My organizations often send me to international meetings as I've never been shy in expressing my opinions. Sometimes I think that becoming an internationalist is a quote-unquote historical accident for me. During that time, several decades ago, participants of these international meetings, and especially civil society leaders, were mostly males coming from developed countries. Women from developing countries were still a rare species at that time, so I was frequently invited to meetings, first probably as a token two-in-one person to give an image of equality. But as I became more accepted in the international NGO leadership, I was also more acknowledged as the voice of NGOs in intergovernmental fora. Through those international works, my perspective has grown from working on consumers and the environment to the more holistic approach of sustainable development. I then broadened my understanding of global challenges and widened my horizon through working on the Millennium Development Goals and later on the Sustainable Development Goals together with other global agreements. I participated in many multi-stakeholders partnerships, meeting more government and business people with integrity and commitments to sustainability. I became less angry, thank God, and have thriving to work on sustainable solutions. I now genuinely believe that philanthropy and business can be part of the development solution in a larger scale, complementing the work of other stakeholders. Now about my journey with Griffith. Actually, it started back in 2006, promoting the Earth Charter in Brisbane. I've been since then visiting Griffith several times as the United Nations Special Ambassador for the Millennium Development Goals in Asia Pacific. I had dialogues in diverse issues from regional partnership on MDGs, healthy cities, business integrity, climate change, etc. I got to know some Griffith institutions like the Climate Change Response Program, the Center for Environment and Public Health, and the Griffith Asia Institute, led by Caitlin Byrne here. All of this continued with the establishment of the collaborative Australia-Indonesia program on sustainable development and climate change, CAPES DCC, a weird abbreviation, still difficult to mention. I appreciate the recognition of my role in the establishment of the Center for Excellence in Sustainable Development Indonesia, or CESD, here in Griffith in 2008, and CAPES DCC in 2018. But to be honest, I joined both as an effort to support my husband, Erna Witoelar, who founded CESD with Peter Davey from Griffith School of Environment. At that time, he was Minister of Environment in Indonesia, and now continues as President Special Envoy on Climate Change. Eventually, as a young professor, he had been mentoring and advising students and staff. Usually, after meeting him, the Indonesian student would approach me to ask all kinds of things, even job opportunities, relevant context, research topics, etc. Sometimes it was done in a pleasant surroundings, and I did not do this all as my job. They were all informal and voluntarily, in line with the saying, if you do what you like and you like what you do, then you don't have to do work at all. As for the establishment of CAPES DCC, that is indeed a deep alignment of shared values. And we look forward to more partnerships between Griffith and the Indonesian government, universities, NGOs, and private sector. Honorable Chancellor, Vice Chancellor, dear audience, may I repeat my humble and heartfelt thanks to all of you in bestowing this great honor to me. My friendship with Griffith has been and will continue to be an enjoyable journey. Thank you all.